All right, we have lectures created, and the next thing we want to do is start adding content to the lecture. And we'll start with the easy part, which is creating text content. And the way we do that is just to update the body content of each lecture if it is a text lecture. So we are going to create a controller responsible for handling the contents for a lecture. PHP artisan make controller. It's going to be in the instructor directory, and I'm going to call that instructor lecture content controller. And in here, I'm going to have two methods. One will be to create or to update an article. So it's going to be text lecture, and the other will be to upload a video. And because the article is just a text update or updating the body field of our lectures table, we need a data object to get the data in the request. So let's create a data object, and that will be in the lecture. And I'm going to call that lecture article content data. We will also need an action to update the content. So it will be update, and that will be in the lecture directory. Update lecture article action. So let's put in the method here, public function update, and that is basically updating the lecture record with the body. And that will take the lecture article content data, it will take the course, and it will also take the lecture. So lecture will be equal to update lecture article action, and that is going to take the data and the lecture we want to update. So let's start by filling in the data object here. The data here will just take one field. It will just be the body of the article. So public string body, and that will be required. So body is going to be required. And that's all we need in the article content data. So if we receive a response, then we want to return that to the front end. So return lecture resource make lecture. Now let's head over to the action. The update, of course, it takes the lecture article content data, and it takes the lecture as input. And the update here is going to be very easy. So lecture update, the body should be set to the body we get from the data transfer object. So body, the type will be changed to lecture type text. So lecture type, remember, it is an enum that we created, and we want the text. And we also want to update the duration in minutes. Okay, so remember that we do have in our lectures table, we have a field called duration minutes or duration in minutes. So here we need to specify what the duration in minutes is. And what is the duration in minutes? That's something we need to calculate, or we need to come up with. So let's come here and we write a little helper function that will take the length of the text content in the body and estimate the duration that it will take for someone to read that content. So protected, I'm just going to make it a static function, and I'll call it calculate article reading time. And that's going to take a string, which is the text that we want to calculate. All right, So what we're going to do here is count the number of words in the body of the text. And we can just estimate to say that it takes a normal human being 1 minute to read 200 words. Now, this is an arbitrary figure that you can change if you want to, or you can do research to see what is the average reading speed of a human being in English or in whatever language you want to choose. In this case, let's just say it takes a minute to read 200 words, okay? And that will give us the duration for reading a particular body content. But also, when we pass the data from the front end, we're going to be using a rich text editor to allow the instructors to customize the body. So they should be able to put headings or to highlight some text in the body. So the text that comes back to us will include HTML tags. So the first thing we want to do is strip off all the HTML tags from the body, and then we only get the words in that text. And based on the number of words, we can estimate the minutes that it would take somebody to read the text. So here, I'm just going to say word count equals string word count. That is a PHP function. So it counts the words in a string. And we also do strip tags. That strips the HTML tags from the text, and we pass the text to it, okay? So if you had anything with HTML tags, this will strip the HTML tags, and the result of that will simply be passed onto the word count function, and it will count the number of words in that string. And all we need to return here will be the number of minutes. So it will be word count divided by, we assume that it takes somebody 1 minute to read 200 words, all right? So we'll simply divide the number of words by 200, and that will return the estimated duration in minutes. So up here, what we are going to do here is just to do serve.calculate reading time, calculate article reading time, and pass the data body to that function. And that's all we need to do. Then once that is done, we just need to return the lecture. So actually here, we don't even need to create a variable. We can just use return and do a tab like we've done before and update that lecture. And then we return the lecture to the controller, okay? So let's head over to the API route and create a route group to handle this. So as we've done before, I'm just going to say lecture content. And here we're just going to say route controller. And we need to pass it the instructor lecture content controller class group. The first one we need here is a put route because we are updating the lecture content with the body. So it's going to be a put route. And that's basically going to be C. Takes the course as an input parameter. Lectures. And takes a lecture. And I want to call this article. Okay. And that is going to be targeting the update action in the controller. Now I'll quickly just create one more here, which we'll come back to in a minute. And that will be the route to post or upload the videos. So route post, and I'm just going to call that lecture or lectures with an S, lecture, and then a chunk method, and I'll call that upload, okay? We haven't created this method yet in the controller, so I'm going to do that. So in here, I'm going to do a public function upload, and that will take a generic request. We don't really need a data object for that, so it will take a generic Laravel request and it will accept the lecture as a route parameter. In fact, we didn't typecast this, so this should be lecture. And when we come back, we are going to handle the video upload process. Okay, so this is just setting things up. But let's go and quickly test the update of the text body of a lecture in here. And for that, we do need the course and the lecture IDs. So I'll go here, copy the course, go to Postman, and we should have, I believe, in the curriculum lectures, we should have update lecture article, which takes the course. So I'm going to replace that with the course, and it takes the lecture ID, which is going to be this. And let's try and do that update, send it. And it says class instructor course doesn't exist. We failed to import a course. So here, let's import the course model. And I think we're good. So let's go back and do that again. And we get a response, which is the body of the article, all set, and the article type has been changed to text. So if we go back here, what I want to do very quickly is to authorize this as well. So if you are not the author of this course, you should not be updating the body. So I'm just going to say this, authorize, update course, and that's it.